to you that we may not get into covering hockey certainly tonight. But thank you all for being with us this evening. And, certainly, again, apologize for the technical difficulty getting the show started. But just to get a quick pulse around the room, the coach is in the building. How are you doing, sir?
What's up, Mr. Bennett? What's up, Shani? How y'all doing, man?
Doing well. Brother Shawnee, what's going on, sir?
None, just enjoying this multi-view on YouTube. Got both of the.
You finally got YouTube TV? You got YouTube TV? It's nice, ain't it?
Whoa, hey, Dante, you're there you go. Oh, it won't go to landscape. It won't go to full landscape mode for you.
No, it won't go to landscape. I'm barely able to get my headphones working right. That's why that left out.
All right. Well, you sound pretty good. So we'll take you as is. But again, everyone, certainly as you come in tonight, make sure you hit the like button as you come in. You certainly supports the algorithm tonight. And again, if you consider dropping a Cash App, certainly to the Black Man Filtered Network, or to certainly to our Cash App scrolling at the bottom of the screen. And certainly good to have guys in the building. Brother Anton, again, I already apologize ahead of time. Not sure if we'll get into NHL tonight with all the hockey, with all the basketball and the NFL draft tomorrow. So certainly, but appreciate you being here. Marcus, early in the building tonight. Let's go, Dub Nation, stand up. And obviously, New Jersey always in the building. And a guy, Trey Ferg, is also in the building tonight. It's good to see you guys tonight. So we're going to talk about the NBA since the draft is tomorrow. So we're going to get into a lot of the NBA action that's going on at this time. So I want to give our Dallas natives, well, our Dallas transports. I won't call you natives because you guys from Houston, but your Dallas transports here. I got it. We can't start the show off without having you guys address this issue. So obviously, here you had Nico Harrison once again had the debacle, if you want to call it a press conference last week, and it just so had, and that garnered a lot of, criticism, in terms of how they tried to, control the narrative. And then he does another one, I guess is more public, and then he has the audacity to say that he had no idea that letting go Luka, that he had no idea of the crowd reaction, the fan reaction to it. So it just, they say when you dig a hole, stop digging, and he just keeps digging a hole. So I just want to before we get into the NBA and certainly the playoffs that are going on as we speak, certainly I want to give Dante and Shawnee the floor. What's going on with Nico? Why can't he just, go on vacation? What's done is done. Talk about next year. But it's like every time he opens up his mouth, he just doesn't make the situation any better. So what is going on with Nico and this Dallas situation? What do you think that's really driving the way they've been handling this since the trade of Luka? So we'll start with Shawnee, and you let us know what's the pulse now. And it's interesting because this is for I got to give him credit though. He's kept Jerry on the sidelines, which is the only thing you really hear out of Dallas. So the fact that he's been able to keep Jerry off the front page, is a miracle in and of itself. So Shawnee, what you got on this here, sir?
It's basically the fans are still feeling the same way they felt when Luka was originally traded, but it's really Nico who's really just keeping the flames going right now. Like you mentioned it. He just needs to get past it. What's done is done. Luka is a Laker now. And you could tell, because if you paid attention to, the previous postseasons, I know this is probably just the ups and downs of a fan base. There was fans here locally that were getting frustrated with Luka's constant, complaining to the refs, lack of defense, and just stuff like that. So it was but he was so young when he came to the league, so you're like, okay, eventually he would mature out of that. But you always knew he was a great offensive player, capitalized offensive, defense is nowhere to be found. But the team tried to, especially last year with the players that they gathered, tried to overcome that with Luka, that weakness. That's why that was one of the main reasons how they made it to the NBA Finals. And because he's just so offensively great, he became a beloved figure within the Metroplex, but there was still complaints about him and his defense and stuff like that. So, especially the way the previous postseason went, um, there was people saying, "Man, we gotta trade Luca," just to frustrate the fans, but they wasn't really expecting it. Because normally a player of Luca's stature, if he's about to be traded, you would have heard something. And the fact that it happened so instant and so sudden, and then couple that with the package they got in return, that's why the fan base is so pissed off about it. But now it's literally they still pissed off about it, but they literally pissed off because they going back to something that Nico said. He just keeps talking about it, and you could tell. I guess I really don't think he was expecting the Metroplex to come at him this hard because when it happened, he didn't want to really be seen. You remember when the trade first happened? They was kicking fans out the arena, was just saying fire Nico. It was getting to him, and then you saw him kind of watching the games and stuff initially from the shadows, literally, because he didn't want to get too much of the fans. So he just kind of, sheltered himself before really, okay, now I'm gonna start addressing it. But now he just keeps addressing it, addressing it, addressing it. Like, okay, dude, the more you address it, the fan base is never gonna move on. And those are happening. It's gonna help. Now they see Luca on TV, and we just got kicked out the play-in tournament. But yeah, he's basically the fan of the Flames now. The fans are going to be the fans. Just tell them, hey, look forward to next year. If they get a full team back next year with a healthy Kyrie, hopefully after Christmas time, then you may see a Mavericks team that can go to the Western Conference Finals.
Gotcha. Yeah, and he said, and I do, certainly the squad. I mean, the issue is again guys staying healthy. I mean, certainly we all know Davis is always hurt these days, and now you got Kyrie with that injury and whatnot. So again, I mean, if you look at the team on paper, it's a decent squad that can certainly go some distance or whatever. But again, just the ignorance when it comes to the fan base or whatever. I just think that it seems like the owners may be putting him behind this, and he's just a sacrificial lamb that's going to just take all the heat.
Well, this whole thing was Nico. I remember some people, like people like, oh, the owners have no. This whole scenario was created and started by Nico. And the owners are like, okay, if this is what you
Well, actually, let me back it up a little bit because I was also hearing some news that it was actually the coach who was getting tired of Luca because of his lackadaisical. So he kind of went to Nico, and then Nico then made the proposal for a trade. At least that's why I was hearing. But
yeah, this whole thing was spearheaded by Nico.
Gotcha. Dante, I want to get your thoughts on
this. Okay, so what I'll say is, as a native. As a forward native and being in the Metroplex, this is going to go down as something that's right up there with like a Cowboy story. It might be right under like a Jimmy Johnson type situation, because for you to let a guy go and then not just trade him and not get the value, but to be arrogant about it a little bit, and defense wins championships and be scared about it. He can't sit in his seat, which in the beginning, I don't blame him. He was getting, death threats and stuff like that. I don't blame him sitting in the seats. But at this point, if he wants to make things right, ownership can only make it right by letting him go. Just because it's so bad. Like I was listening to Whining Jones, and he was like, look, there's been word that he's probably never going to work in the NBA again. And then obviously, Nike-wise, you traded Luka, Jordan brand Nike. So going back home to Nike, that's probably not going to be the best interest. So, like I said, he's probably made good share of money as a GM and with Nike, because I think he was over North American. So he was over. He had a big role, obviously, knowing Kobe and Kyrie and others. So it's just like not only did he handle it wrong, and it is, from what I've heard, for months, he put the whisper in the ear of Dumont, like, hey, we should make this happen. Only problem is Dumont is a new owner. When he said, oh, we got to the championship games and not the finals, that was a tip-off that's like, dude, you're really wealthy, but you don't really know what you're in. You don't know basketball like that. Over the years he'll probably get better, but he made a great mistake as ownership. No matter how you put it, And whether they talked you into it or you did it, you should have gotten outside counsel to be like, hey, that's not a good idea. And you could have, I don't know, they were trying to step away from Mark Cuban. It was because that article that Tim McMahon did was really good. You were trying to step away from him and have it on your own. He would have told you, not only is this bad for basketball, this is bad for business. Tim McMahon, he also reported today, they probably gonna, over a number of years, lose like $1 billion worth of business. So it's just like, yeah, you didn't pay him the 345, but not paying him that, your sponsors are pulling out left and right. Then at the same, somebody made the right decision in the middle of the Luka trade to announce that, hey, we're going up on season ticket prices. So everything that Nico Harrison, he hasn't gotten backed up good by the ownership. He hasn't got picked up by the organization by doing things like that. The promo video they tried to do, the hype video, everything has just been bad. So it's like he at least has to stand up and be out front and be vocal. But now I would say it's probably something else that's sneaky. When he's trying to build a team this offseason, every GM's gonna be like, okay, let me fleece Nico. It's gonna be like kind of what the Lakers were seeing with Rob Pelinka when he first got the GM. Was like, hey, let me fleece this guy. Let me try to throw anything at him, because I mean, like essentially with the Lakers trade, you got fleeced. You didn't get enough first round picks. They were talking about Giannis today, who's older than Luka. They was like, I heard Kyle say, man, you got to get like 4 players and 5 picks. Yeah, they got a prominent star at this situation, but you got a star that's on the downside of his prime, and you only got 1 first round pick. You got a role player. You got a role player and a first round pick, and that's just not enough. So I've heard a lot of people like I said Trey was in the comments just like, hey, he definitely traded him to the wrong team, and you didn't do a good enough job of play the season out, open it up. You could have kept it quiet or if there was worthless about it, just denied it. But he should have took it to the summer and let it be a bidding war. And then now, of course, Luka's going to get some command and be like, hey, what teams do you want to go to? But this is I'm glad the playoffs are here, and they're off to a decent start. But I'm ready for the story to go ahead and go into the background because they were eliminated. But he did such a bad job of doing PR that we're still talking about it, 2 months, almost 3 months later.
Man, let's be real, man. First of all, he panicked. First of all, they was in the number 4 or 5 seed in the middle of the season. Luka has been drinking beer since he started playing basketball. Now his defense may have been a little light, but they had young guns that was over hurt. Lively them had been hurt. They was coming back. You go get an old ass AD who's subject to miss 30 games a year at this point of his career. Luka, you could have had Kyrie coming back. They had some young bodies in there that were strong. Get another point guard, make Luka get in shape before you sign him that multi-million-dollar contract. Or if not, you can get some drive. You can get something from him, but you can't replace Luka. You can't replace it. People see it. And he messed up for the city. It's going to hurt him. I don't think he's going to be around next summer to even make any decisions regarding the Mavericks. It's going to hurt the city financially because they ain't got nothing to do right now.
Well, I'm seeing in the comments.
He ain't got to play defense. James Harden don't play defense. He done got 2 Supermax. It don't matter. He can get 35.
Yeah, because the frustrations amongst the organization was getting with Luka because Luka was going around the organization with like a big head per se. So they was getting frustrated with that and the fact that, defense or whatnot, but he's still your franchise player who just took you to the finals. So we all automatically assumed that Luka is going to get the Supermax contract. But yeah, this ownership basically is brand new to basketball. They're in the casino business. They don't know anything about basketball. That's why when Mark Cuban sold the team to them, what was told to DFW was that he was still going to be in control of basketball operations. So that's why when the trade happened, we looking at Cuban like, how did you let this happen? And then Cuban basically putting his hands up like he had nothing to do with this. So basically this whole thing happened when the Lakers came to the DFW, I think January 7th, and there's even like a picture or video of Pelinka and Harrison at like a coffee bar shop or something. That's what it is. They had literally
this making the deal right there.
They was making a deal, like old school deal. Like nobody knew besides the owners. Like nobody knew. So they literally discussed this right there in the coffee shop. And next thing you know, bam, trade was in the works and it happened. But yeah, this ownership had Cuban hired Harrison, and before this deal, Harrison did a pretty good job with the Mavericks. So he was on the good graces of the fan base. This one deal completely wiped, and they don't even care about Nico no more. Everybody fired Nico, chants coming out everywhere. So yeah, this current ownership, they literally depending on Nico. They don't know nothing about basketball. They're a casino. They whole thing was to come get the Mavericks and try to put a casino in the arena, which was declined. So we don't know. We don't really know if they did this to agree to do this to piss off the fan base, so they can have a reason to try to move the team. But you got to get the other owners to agree to that. So yeah, that's basically what they're working with.
And keep in mind, how long has this ownership group been in? Because I know obviously they have new ownership. When they bought a team last year or this year? When did the purchase take place?
I think last
year, last summer.
I think it might have been 22 when it came out.
Oh, 22. Oh, that okay. Yeah,
I'm not sure when Cuban.
Yeah, this is not under, I guess, the Cuban regime, so to speak. I think this is all under
Harrison was hired by Cuban.
Right.
Yeah, Nico was hired by Cuban, and then what the story angles at for that Tim McMahon wrote that basically Nico cozied up to Dumont and kind of pushed Cuban out. He's been, getting power. I'm sorry, 23.
Right.
Appreciate that for Trey. But yeah, he kind of pushed him out, and he gained the power. And the thing is, all the goodwill that he built up in the moves that he was making from, the getting out of other bad deals and players that they didn't want to, getting, with not, I won't say spare parts, but getting solid role pieces like Lively and PJ Washington, and then making a finals run to just dismantle that. And Trey, I know that I see you in the comments saying about giving the guy a supermax. That's your worst defender. Defense is definitely important, but it didn't hinder them as much as far as getting them to the finals. So my thing is getting to the finals. If you can get there, can you improve on the defense some? Can the other players around you improve? Because while Luka didn't have the best finals, neither did Kyrie Irving, neither did PJ Washington, neither did a number of players. So that's what the solution was. You got a guy like Klay Thompson. And that's what I feel bad for. You came over here expecting this.
Klay came to Dallas to play with Luka.
For sure. Want to acknowledge brother Anton. Anton dropped a $5 super chat. That's okay. That the Mavericks are going to be a train wreck for the next few years. The Stars will keep American Airlines Center busy for the strings. Shout out to the hockey
they may be building them a new arena.
And they're getting a new arena.
Well, listen, fellas. One thing the owners do understand is money, and financially it's going to cost the organization. So Nico will definitely be out, but again, they still have some leverage. They can still, save the day, draft younger, and build on what you got. That's all they need is a point guard. That's it. They got some nice inside body. They got some.
Well, that's the issue. They don't have a lot of draft capital. Like they have to pick this year, but they don't control a lot of their picks going forward from other deals.
Well, they better use the free agency. They better use it.
They cap strap. They get Kyrie's up for his deal. His player option is up, so he's going to probably resign.
Oh yeah, he's going to resign.
Financially, they don't have a lot of wiggle room, so they didn't do anything that you're supposed to do. When you get a player, like trade a player,
max trader,
you're supposed to get cap relief. You're supposed to get draft picks. They didn't get any of that.
So Nico definitely won't be there this summer. He ain't making no more negotiations. It's over.
Just kick Nico out the door. Huh?
I hear you.
So
all right, let's move on to the playoffs. And actually, I'll say just overall, what I'm most excited about. I think all these games have been pretty good. I mean, the Grizzlies and Thunder. I don't even think that's what we're talking about. I think that's going to be a sweep. I just don't see that as competitive. They don't have the horses. I think the Grizzlies to keep up with the Thunder. So I don't want to spend a ton of time on that. And again, when I took the screenshot, certainly the games were going on. I think the Celtics was 50-47 over the Magic at halftime, and I think the Heat, the Cavaliers are blowing out the Heat. So again, that series is 50-34 in the going with 6 minutes left in the first half. So again, the basically the ones at the top, again, I think those are going to be pretty easy rounds to get through. I think for the number one seeds. But what I'm liking overall about the playoffs, what I'm seeing so far, is that it seems like the players like they care. I mean, you had the scrap up with the Nuggets and Clippers. We're going to talk about that certainly in a minute. You see what's going on with the Pacers and the Bucks. Even though the Bucks are down 0-2 in the series, certainly there's a lot of chirping. There's a lot of back and forth there. Kind of reminded me a little bit of the 80s basketball, but it's physical. And same thing with the Knicks and Pistons series. Guys are playing hard. Guys are playing physical. So I'm liking just the attitude of the players as they go around in these rounds. But let's talk about certainly again the matchups that seem to matter at this point. Obviously, the closest and most competitive series so far is the Clippers and the Nuggets. Both games decided by a total of 5 points. Series split 1-1, and certainly in the first game. Certainly Westbrook, certainly he got off. He hit the big shot that took the game to overtime, and then the Nuggets put it out. And then, again, another close game 2, but then Kawhi Leonard goes off. 39 points, 15 and 19 from the field. And I tell you, I didn't necessarily want to get into a debate on this tonight, but I would say this. I mean, obviously, the man's been hurt for a lot of years, but it seems like when he is on, he may be one of the best to ever do it. As far as, in the playoffs, he's led 2 teams to championships. And again, with the Clippers being competitive, who knows if they come out the West, hypothetically, they come out the West, and that's 3 teams he would have led to the finals. Again, he's up there. I mean, I'm not saying he's Kobe per se, and I think I might introduce that a little bit later, which is blasphemy. I recognize the Dante and a lot of guys, but I'm saying a healthy Kawhi Leonard in the playoffs, I'll put him up there with a lot of different guys. He seems to just elevate his game at the playoffs, even though he's doing the regular season or whatnot. It seems like he doesn't care. He's aloof or whatever, but he puts up big, when it comes to time to put up in big games, he's one of the best that I've seen, certainly in the last 20 years. And that'd be including Kobe Bryant. But what are your thoughts, guys, on what you've seen in the Nuggets Clippers series so far? Tied up at 1-1, going back to L.A. And it seems like the Clippers they got the split that they needed, and they certainly they have the advantage at this point. So, Shawnee, what do you think of the series so far from what you've been able to see?
Well, just speaking on it, I guess you brought up how the players seem to be. You liking how the players are really into this playoff this year. Adam Silver, I guess at the first weekend of the playoffs, he did say that was one of the highest ratings the NBA had within the first round in the playoffs right there. So it's definitely the players are showing on the court, and the people are definitely watching. So that's a good sign. Unfortunately, it does still kind of point to it kind of further illuminates how players probably don't really take the regular season serious as they did in the past, but who knows? But yeah, it's definitely a good sign of the players improving. But yeah, the Grizzlies Thunder. If you talking about it's just a straight up mismatch.
Yeah, that's how. Yeah, the 2 at the top of the bracket. I don't even think it's worth really discussing.
I think the Heat would Cleveland just not pulling away.
Yeah,
I think
they're almost 20 now.
Even have a chance of winning one game at home. Grizzlies, they just look outmatched from every facet of the game.
Yeah,
and plus, what you expect? You just fired Taylor Jenkins was a very good NBA coach. I think they was number 2 seed just last year, I believe. I still don't know why they fired that dude. Nuggets and Clippers is going to be a very good series. And one of the things I do not like about is basketball playoffs and baseball playoffs, especially after game 1. The overreaction you be hearing from people about from one game. Maybe if a team down 0-2, I can say, but for one game, you hear everybody knows that in a series is all about matchups and adjustments. You hear that everybody's so quick to say it's a first of 4 games, not a first of 1, and all this. And it never fails. If a team gets beat after game 1, everybody act like now they playoffs is is in jeopardy. I say, yeah, they probably lost this game, but they probably they can make an adjustment on what they saw on the court. You saw that exact same thing happen between the Lakers and the Timberwolves. Like the Timberwolves won that game because they scored 21 3-pointers. I was like, dude, that's why they won that game for the most part. And you expect them to do that again in game two, which did not happen. It was a complete opposite. And you saw the Lakers win that game. So I don't know why people do that. And after I can understand maybe after if it's a 2-0 hole, but after the first game of a series, I don't know. But yeah, about that Kawhi Leonard thing, a healthy Kawhi Leonard can hold his own against anybody.
Yeah.
Anybody. I'm talking about if you put him against Jordan, that would be a hell of a matchup because Jordan, like, okay, I'm getting, it'll definitely bring out his competitive juices because a healthy Kawhi he can score and he's a defender.
Yeah.
So
the claw,
yeah,
call him the claw for a reason.
But that was, that whole thing of Stephen A. talking about he the worst superstar. But his thing was because we are not talking about your own court skill set. We know that is elite. It's just the fact that, dude, you just always finding a reason to stay off the court.
Yeah.
And as great as he's looking right now in the playoffs, you still got this doubt in half your brain. He probably somewhere in this first round, something unfortunately may happen and it was going to take him out completely at the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
It's a revolving door around him.
Yeah, he's special at this time. I got to give he may frustrate you again throughout the year, but come playoff time, just like we talk about playoff Jimmy and those guys, I mean, he is just a special player. And one thing that he does, he's almost like an old school player in that he still has that mid range game. Everyone's want to shoot 3-pointers now. He can shoot the three. He can be effective with that.
What he does, he'll get hot from the mid-range. If he gets hot from the mid-range, it follows him to the three-point line.
Right,
and
right.
He started busting threes. So, yeah, at one point, Kawhi Leonard was looked at as the best player in the NBA.
Yeah.
But his injuries took him up, and it kind of took him out of everybody's mind.
Right.
But that dude is
Coach, what's your thoughts on I guess the let's stay on the Nuggets because I want to take a deeper dive on the Lakers Timberwolves, but on the Nuggets Clippers series.
All right, yeah, real quick. The Thunder, the Grizzlies, they discombobulated. They not a team. They need to. It's all with for them. The Nuggets and Clippers, Kawhi is the worst superstar in NBA history. Ever since he got injured at San Antonio, he's been the worst superstar. He's played under 50 games, six straight seasons, under 40 games, but he comes to the playoff, which is crazy. And I don't put it on him. I put it on the GM and the owners. They let him do it. But we can see what he can do. He's big, you know what I'm saying? He's about 6'7", 6'8", long arms. He's strong. It's just unfortunate. We don't see enough of Kawhi Leonard. Mm-hmm. We don't see enough of him.
But it's almost like if he wants to make a basketball player, right? Like,
I wouldn't make him no Kawhi Leonard, but he'll have his size.
I'm just saying, but he has the attributes, like you said, 6'7", 6'8".
But he's a forward. He's a forward. You know what I'm saying? He's a power forward all day long. He can dribble. A power forward he can get the rebound. He's inside guy. He can't be running up and down the court trying to run the break a lot. He's good for being a good mid. He's like not quite a 4, but he's in between the 3 and the 4 all day. That's his position. He can't play guard. He can't play 2 guard, point guard. He can't play center. But to me, his game reminds me of a shorter Tim Duncan. He's got that same type of long arm jump shot. If you watch him shoot his jump shot, his arms are always stretched out long. And Tim Duncan shot that same type of shot.
Yeah. But Duncan didn't have that range, though.
No, he ain't had the range, but he ain't, you know what I'm saying? But he had that same type of slow, methodically, and he can dribble good enough to get his shot off. So he just, I don't know. Clippers, I see him beating the Nuggets, though.
Wow. Awesome. Yeah, this certainly it does a lot for his legacy if he's able.
Well, we staying there. Are we going down the list?
We're going to come back to it because I want to delve into the Laker Timberwolves series specifically. But Dante, your thoughts on certainly the Clippers Nuggets, what you're seeing so far in the series?
Okay, so I really love this series, and I thought it was one of the best one. I did pick the Clippers to win it, but I will say this: the Nuggets have came out just unlike the Grizzlies, but they're a much better team. They're not worried about the coach thing. They're actually playing free and making it happen. Really, really good games. It's one of those. I hope it goes 7 because I think it's going to be outstanding. Kawhi, I will say this. Saying he's the worst superstar, we got to put things in context and say that his body has failed him. His body has failed him. When he is healthy, he's putting it all out there and making it happen at the biggest moments, which is why people love it. It's like, hey, you're saving your best for the big moments, like the big shot that he hit for Toronto in Philadelphia. Winning the Finals MVP. He makes it happen. And the thing about him is, if you listen to what JJ Redick said, he's a guy that puts in the work to be healthy, to have his body ready, but it just fails him. Ever since San Antonio, when something happened and he didn't trust the medical team, that's what happens.
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, in a playoffs, like I said, if you were going to design a basketball player, you're going to say somebody who has the size, he plays defense, he can score in the post, he has the mid game, and he can hit from long range. I mean, that's why I kind of had some of the Kobe comparison, because it seemed like he's a little bit bigger than Kobe, as just as good a defender as Kobe. And again, in the big moments, it tends to shine. First of all, I want to apologize. Our YouTube had went out. We just noticed that. Thank you, BMU, for letting us know. We just restarted, so we went out for a minute, but we just restarted again. Hopefully that won't happen again, but I'll make sure to monitor it so it stays on. So again, for our YouTube audience, thank you guys for coming back to us, and hopefully we'll
trying to kick us out.
I guess so. I guess Nico didn't like us talking about him, but I'm telling you, if it were me, if perfectly healthy, you're gonna give me Kobe or you're gonna give me Kawhi. That's not outrageous, even though people want to put Kobe on the Mount Rushmore, which I definitely don't believe. But that being said, I mean, not to say he's a great player and his stats and everything, 18-time All-Star, 5-time champion, all those accolades that he gets. But Kawhi, if I just squint a little bit, I'm just saying this guy could be even greater. Now, if he does lead yet another team, I don't know has there been another NBA player that has led 3 different teams to the NBA finals.
LeBron.
Yes, LeBron.
LeBron did. Yeah, LeBron did. Yeah. So again, I would certainly, I would if healthy. This is all hypothetical. I would never take Kobe versus Kawhi straight up, just given their careers and everything. I'm not saying that.
Career, basically, his injury history basically just eliminated, because we don't. It's a huge gap. It's a huge gap of what if.
Exactly. But I just see him play. It's like, my gosh, what if this guy was healthy for like the last 10 years? Where would he be when in the discussion as far as great players and one? It's a hypothetical. I'm not. Trey Taylor's going crazy. I'm not picking Kawhi over Kobe, but I'm just saying, when you look at him on any given night, he could be as good as anyone who's ever played in the playoffs.
I think with Kawhi, is more of a drop-in player. Like with Kobe, you're gonna have to build a customized team for Kobe because of Kobe's high volume shooting, and players who just not gonna mind taking that, back seat as far as the shots you'll be able to take, because Kobe will take majority of the shots. So you got to really customize a team with. I think with Kawhi, you can better, like how people talk about KD, you can just drop him in the offense and let him go.
Yeah,
I think Kawhi can do that. He's more, I think, flexible than Kobe with that.
What?
Other than that,
What?
you really, I mean, with Kobe's, I think Kawhi has that same killer mindset as Kobe did, but you see, it's just different with Kawhi, because you see no emotion behind it.
Yeah,
he just does it, and like, okay, I'm through with you. I'm going off the court now.
Yeah,
but
I'm not disagreeing with Trey here. It was definitely Duncan's team, but I know Kawhi was the MVP of that 2014 championship. with the Spurs in 2014. So again, clearly, Duncan's team and the veterans that they had on that team and whatnot. But he's again, I think he's a special player. Which again, unfortunately, he's gotten snake blood. I think he's still a Hall of Fame player. But I'm just saying, if he would have had more more healthy seasons, what we could have seen, he could have been like the next Kobe. In that regard,
Trey forgot KD played for the Warriors. That's exactly what they did with the Warriors. They just dropped him in. He turned a great team to an absolute juggernaut. Usually, you see what happened, what's going on in Phoenix, and you can't really put that on KD because he's still getting his. It's them other players. I don't know. They don't know how to do it. But with the Warriors, he was dropped in, add water, and you saw him that team just grows. So
there you go. But let's move on to the Lakers Timberwolves series. So again, Timberwolves, obviously they came out hot in that first game, hit 21 threes and whatnot. My only thing with the Lakers, which I'm worried about, is they scored 95 points in the first game, 94 points in the second game. To me, that's not a good formula if you can't score. So I'm worried about the Lakers in terms of their ability to win. Certainly to win, win outright. If they're not going to be able to score, they're going obviously back to Minnesota. So I don't know. I'm concerned about the Lakers, and LeBron hasn't been superstar LeBron. I mean, Luka certainly came to play. So I'm not sure. I'll start with Dante first, since he's the resident Laker fan here. Are you worried about your Lakers at this point?
I won't say I'm worried, just because game one defensively, I was like, it was a bit of, hey, you guys didn't play the best defense, and they were just, outrageously high, like, Nas, Reed, and everybody making all those threes, but to give up 51% from the field, 50%
he's going to the Shannon Sharp school here.
I've said the whole time, I feel like it's a 6-game series. I give Timberwolves that much respect just because of their perimeter defense, which looks like it's giving us a problem. I will say LeBron hasn't really turned up yet and figured it out and got going. So I would say if he gets going, that's going to get more going. And I would say then Austin Reeves it's the 3-headed attack. It's Austin Reeves, of course, LeBron and Luka. And then just you got to get enough from the bench. You got to get enough from Gabe Vincent, enough from Dorian Finney-Smith. You can't really play Dalton Connect, so you got to kind of get a little bit of offense from like your Jared Vanderbilts of the world. But offensively, I want to say how it looks in game 3 on the road. We're not the best road team, so I want to see how it looks after game 3, because the game 3 when it's 1-1 is real pivotal. So,
Coach, what are your thoughts on the Lakers series here? I mean, like I said, I'm worried about the offense.
I'm not worried about the offense. I'm not worried about, like Trey said in the chat, LeBron, he understands what he's doing. He don't have to be the run down the court at 90 miles an hour man no more. He can pace himself. I see this series going the distance, though, because one thing I can see that is a little different from, the Timberwolves this year than last year, Randall, he has something to prove. Remember, LA traded him, so he's on a mission. And then Ant-Man, he's coming to his own because he understands the pressure that's on this year. So I see him being locked in. I think Luka and LeBron, the stars gonna be stars in this series right here. Mm-hmm. I think it's gonna come down to the others for the Lakers, the Austin Reeves, Finney Smiths, and who else they got? Gabe and all those. Those guys gonna have to play. Vanderbilt. I would play the young white guy because he can shoot. I would play him. He's long, 6'7", 6'8". He can guard. He can get 6 fouls. I know that. But again, this is the playoffs. I see it going 7. LA. I think LA gonna win, but I see it going 7.
Shout out to CJ Wilkins, $5 super chat, choke like Becky State in game 2. But I still think the Wolves win both games in Minnesota. So Lakers, Takers, Bakers, Wolves in 6. NBA Finals.
The Wolves in 6. That's interesting.
All right, and then Black Man dropping in. You can have a second to be active.
You better shoot that ball.
The Lakers in 5. So obviously, the fan base is split here in terms of the action. Shawnee, what are your thoughts on Bless you. What do you see in the series so far?
If we talking about the Lakers,
Yeah,
Timberwolves,
Lakers Timberwolves.
I'm still picking the Lakers. I think Timberwolves may. And in fact, with LeBron, the whole thing about LeBron and him pacing, I think what Luca is currently doing is exactly what LeBron wants. Luca is basically running that offense, using it, being aggressive, and LeBron has no problem just playing off of Luca. So I don't think LeBron has any issues with that. I don't know. Luca is coming off to a hot start. And over the past 2 seasons, he's been having his way with the Timberwolves. They have no answer for Luca, and you're seeing that again so far this series. Luca showed up game one. He couldn't do nothing about the 21 3-pointers that they had. So now that they calmed that down, you saw the rest of the Lakers, finally joined the party. But yeah, I still have the Lakers. Either Lakers in 6, or I would not be surprised if this go to 7. But I really, I think if the game go to 7, I think Edwards have to really go off for the Timberwolves to have a chance. But I really do believe that the Lakers, at the earliest, will clinch this in 6. I think they're going to steal one game back in Minnesota and regain home court advantage in this series.
Yeah. All I know is they say with role players, those shots tend to drop when you're at home. So again, Lakers, I think they definitely need this game 3.
Well, the Timberwolves proved that false where they were dropping for all of them. And think about it, it wasn't Anthony Edwards who went off. It was Naj Reid and
correct.
And who was the other player who went off for him? So.
Yeah, so I mean that's the thing. If he hasn't gotten going yet, so if you're waiting for LeBron to show up, if you're waiting for Ant-Man to show up, so certainly, I would say Game 3 is going to be pivotal for the Lakers. If they go down 2-1, definitely it's going to go 7, and don't be surprised at the upset if out there was Jaden McDaniels had 25 in that first game with the Lakers.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why I'm like, okay. That goes to show how people just talking about after one game, after one loss. They act like the series was already over.
Shout out to Black Man again. You can have bacon, a Jamaican, or Sun Awakening, Lakers in 5. Shout out to man in the building. All right, so next week again we got the. Let's move over to the East before we get to. I know the Warriors play tonight. Currently, games halftime in Miami at 68-51. Cavaliers at half, and then the Celtics are up 5. 6:27 left in the third. In the third quarter. Want to go over to the Bucks Pacers series again. Another close kind of series. Again, a lot of emotion, a lot of physicality in that series. Certainly the Pacers up 2-1. It just seems to me that the Pacers just have more younger horses. I mean, you figure Dame came back game 2, but still, I don't think how healthy he is. It just seems like Pacers getting scoring from everybody pretty much. So I just don't know if the Bucks have the horses, but again, very physical series. Dame and man from the Pacers, Halliburton, they're kind of getting into it or whatnot. Technicals called and whatnot. So it seems like there's a lot of people calling this a rivalry. I don't know how you call it. I mean, Pacers, I think they're just coming back into.
It's new. It's new.
Yeah, it's a new rivalry, but definitely, I like the guys playing like they care about, like they want to be there. But Pacers up 2-0, and but they say again it's not a series until a team beats the other team at home. So we'll see if the Bucks can rebound. But what are you guys' thoughts on this series so far? Competitive, but again 2-0. That's a hard hole to come out of. So Shawnee, what are your thoughts? What have you seen in the series so far?
Now these two teams, they're I guess disdain for each other just happens through the regular season, and when Indiana started turning the page last season, that's when they started regularly challenging the Bucks. So Pacers are younger, so when they start playing better, they do more talking. That's what you're seeing now. And now this season, you see Halliburton. He's doing the talk. But I like it though. That's the NBA. It's a lot of times you talk when you're on the court. Pacers since they got that offense. I mean, same thing from like last year. The one thing they're gonna have is an offense, a fast-paced offense, and Milwaukee gonna have to keep up. You know, I mean, Milwaukee then lost some pieces from, 'cause I think I wasn't Holiday with them when they
Oh
won
yeah,
the
for the championship run.
He
Oh
was
yeah,
a
definitely.
huge factor.
Definitely.
That's why they Boston won it last year because of Holiday, but they don't have him no more. Milwaukee. So now you got this young, free running team just going up and down, up and down. I gotta look at the stats because last year they was basically all offense, no defense. But yeah, he
All
gonna
right,
put me in there.
this is the latest one from Black Man. This was just for you, Sean. You can have Sean, your white buddy, you're trying to be
He done
funny.
put me in there.
Lakers in 5. Coach, what are your thoughts on the Pacers Bucks? What are you seeing so far?
I'm just saying the age in the Bucks. That's what it is. Like I said, the young guns for Indiana, they understand. They was in the playoffs last year. I think their team is gelling, and the Bucks are just old. We was talking about defense earlier. Dame Dash don't play no defense like that anyway. But he's a volume shooter, and if his rhythm's off, the Bucks don't have enough scoring. That's their problem. They don't have enough scoring. They have to get younger. If they I can see them getting swept, but in Milwaukee, it's gonna be a tough out. They're gonna get it. In Milwaukee, don't lose at home. Giannis gets all the calls, everything.
Yeah.
So
Awesome. And for Dante, this is for you, sir. You can have a Dante, a Mayday, or Burger King. Have it your way. Lakers in 5. That's for you, bro.
I like that.
All right. So what's your thoughts on the series so far?
Yeah, so far it's like y'all said, like the Pacers got more juice. I like that it's chippy. I like Halliburton, talking and Dame coming back. Like you said, I agree with Trey. Like Dame's not in rhythm yet. Giannis is playing out, but they just don't have enough, and it's kind of like they're gonna need that home boost to lift them up. Because I think for them to have a chance at winning, they're gonna have to win the next two, and then make it going back to Indiana and try to pull out a game 5. But I like the way the series is going. Hopefully they can be competitive because obviously if they don't win game 3, it's over.
Yeah, for sure.
My-
And for the
my
coach,
question
don't.
Oh,
Said
go ahead.
just wanted for the coach, BMU. He didn't want to make sure that you were missed, so he's got for you, sir. You can have Coach Fern, Lord Word, or an iceberg. That was for you.
My whole question from this series is, especially the way we talking, like I think especially if either the Bucks either get swept or they lose in 5, what's going to be the fate of Rivers?
it's over.
Because remember
It's
how
over.
he got
I mean,
this job. Yeah, how he got this job was kind of shaky. He was advising the dude, and then all along he's back in the back, taking his job from him.
His only real resume. I mean, he won the 08 finals with the Celtics, and then they got back there in 2010. That's it. He's had a lot of talented teams. He's gotten to the deep in the playoffs, but couldn't get over the hump or what have you. So yeah, I think that if you're like a struggling near the bottom of the league franchise, then he may get another shot somewhere, but certainly not with the elite teams. That time that shit may have sailed if he can't get, especially if he loses here. But there was so much chaos though in Milwaukee, over the past couple of years.
Yeah,
they were winning, but it's definitely
back. What was his name?
Everybody panicked.
He didn't have that coach back, even though they was winning. Yeah, so. But it's gonna be
all right, let's see what Backman has for me. So you can have a Mr. Bennett, a Jerry Jones, Lennon Steelers can't win Lakers in 5. Appreciate that, sir. Thank you very much.
What's her name? Charlotte Jones. She was the designer of the family.
I hear you. All right, so let's move on to let's look at the Knicks Pistons series. I mean, the Knicks. Certainly game 1, that third into the fourth quarter, they win like on a 21-0 run. I think to close out that game. But then, Pistons rebound. So they have a young guy who's aspiring to be a star in the league also. They were able to get the split at home. What are your guys' thoughts on the series? First of all, just remind me who you guys pick in the series. I think I picked the Pistons to win it overall, and I think this would be the end for Coach Thibodeau, because I think he just runs his players into the ground. He doesn't necessarily utilize his bench a whole lot, and I think and in fact, especially in this game when you had their big man again did nothing in the second half, and I don't think he took a shot in the fourth quarter. So I don't know what was going on with him, but Shawnee, what's your thoughts on the Knicks Pistons series? Entertaining, but I just think that I think the Detroit is just getting warmed up. They got some very young players, and they have their main guy there. He's looking to he possibly be a breakout star. So what are your thoughts so far?
Detroit reminds me of my Rockets. Two young teams. I don't think they made a lot of motion in the trade. A lot of motion in the trade of deadline, because just like the Rockets, they want to see what their young guys can do in the playoffs. They want them to get as much playoff experience, and then I think they're going to address whatever holes they need in the offseason. The Knicks, I want to say the Knicks could still win this series, because I believe the Knicks starting five is one of the better starting fives in the league. They just have to click. And that's why I'm trying to hold that. Like they could have easily been down 0-2 in this thing if it wasn't for this 21 straight points that they scored.
Yeah.
So I mean, the Pistons are right there. I want to say the Knicks starting five should be able to deliver the series, but right now the Knicks have been getting outplayed this series. Like I say, if it wasn't for that long run, we'd be looking at an 0-2, and I can just hear it up there in that tri-state area up there, where you at, man. I think.
But everyone's looking. People want an APB on what happened to Karl Anthony Towns. He just totally disappeared in this. He was hot in the first half, and he just went AWOL in the second half. So, absolutely, Coach. Your thoughts on the Pistons series? It seems like the Pistons they're up and they were in the doldrums for a long time. And it looks like they're definitely turning that thing around. I know. Shout out to our guy JT from Detroit. I'm sure he's happy about it. But it seems like the Pistons, they're a team on the rise.
Man, the Pistons have nothing to lose. They have young ball players, and you can see they starting five is very close knit. You can tell. And when a team's like that, they have nothing to lose. They dangerous. You already said. Thibodeau, he ain't never been a good coach to me. He run his players in the ground during the regular season. How you not go play you down to 7-8 players every game for the whole season? No, you got to use your bench. But the NBA like him as a coach. He should be if the Knicks don't make it out of this series, he should be fired immediately and move on.
I agree with that. Yeah,
they have too good of a team, but. Yeah. The Pistons, man. Salute to the Pistons, man.
Yeah, Cade Cunningham. He's becoming a star. I mean, he's fearless, and he's going to be something in this league in the next couple of years. Dante, give you the floor, and then we got a question from CJ. Want to go back and revisit? We actually talked about this, CJ, but I want to entertain your question. But I want to get Dante's thoughts first, and then we'll move on.
Yeah, this is one that I picked. I picked the Knicks with my head, but my heart said the Pistons. I hope I'm wrong in this one, because I really like Cade Cunningham. Arlington, Texas is on. I really like what he's doing as a rising star. And I love that he's playing against the Knicks, because we always talk about ratings, TV ratings, beating stars. You doing well against the Knicks, having a big game in Madison Square, that's going to raise your profile. I hope if they do win the series, it raises his profile like it did Trae Young's a few years ago, where he was able to back off the Knicks, and you saw his profile get raised. So it would be great to see, as far as historically, to see the Pistons be good out in the East again. I would love that. The Pistons, the Celtics obviously are still good. Like that old feel. I really like that. So I'm hoping that they can pull it off, but they got to take the momentum, and they got to take Game 3. They got to take Game 3 if they really want to win it.
Absolutely. And I want to go back and just revisit, because I know we had talked about this, CJ, just before you got on. Getting quiet. Leonard's missed 85% of his games last 2 seasons. He's playing out of his mind so far in round 1. If the Clippers are somehow able to win the West, what does he rank? I think it ranks him very high. I think that definitely he's definitely in the top 75 conversation, maybe in the top 50 conversation. I just think that again we missed out on how great we would be calling him if he was healthy for that time. Remember that they were winning when the Warriors were in their hot streak. They were actually winning that series, and you had that center for the Warriors, Jaja Pachulia. He comes down, he sticks his foot out, twists his ankle, he's out for the series. But they were winning that series before the Warriors won it. So again, we could be talking about more championships with the Spurs. Again, had he stayed healthy. But every time when I see him, when he's on, he's as good as anybody's ever played. Especially in the playoffs, he does everything on both sides of the offense, defense, mid game, long range. He can post up. He's almost like the perfect. If you were going to just build a perfect basketball player. He has a lot going for himself. But again, unfortunately, you can't discount the injuries. And as you said, he's missed a lot of games. And again, he's not going to get the credit I think that he deserves. But yeah, if he's able to pull this off, which is not unusual for him to do, I mean, you're going to put him up there with some discussions. I was talking about Kobe earlier, and certainly. Some guys still may not go with that, but he would make a case for himself if he gets a third team certainly to the finals and possibly even wins the finals. He's a bad boy. Any thoughts? You guys want to revisit that?
I just go back to what I mentioned. Like, pretty much a huge reason why we don't really talk about Kawhi is his injuries. And he done missed so much action. He literally just got pushed out of everybody's mind. If injuries was not a factor, even if it was, everybody probably have an injury here and there, but if it was a scaled down some, I'm not saying the dude had to be Superman, but just scaled down some where we could see him more on the court, I think you will see a whole lot more people mentioning Kawhi with the names of Steph, LeBron, Kobe, because he was up there. And the thing about it was, like Kobe, he was elite on both sides of the ball. He was not lacking on offense. He was not lacking on defense. It was like both. Like you look at like a grading level, they both was 99. But his injuries and stuff was just basically, as soon as he'll come back, then he'll take so long to come back, and then right when he come back, he get injured again. He just got pushed out of everybody's mind now. So now we're seeing him it was Kawhi. He's playing now.
Come on, man.
This is what he was doing before he was getting all those injuries. So
time out, Shawnee. He's only played 12 games since he came back.
That's why.
But that's the thing, though. Yeah, 12 games. He drops 39. And he drops 39.
I can go out and get 39 on one good night. However, I need to see Kawhi for the next 50 games going into next season all the way to the All-Star break. Then he can get everything. But like it's already been said, he's the worst superstar in NBA history. Y'all know nobody that's been missing games like that. And then he come out all of a sudden he have to get 35.
They say that because they don't talk about his own court skill set. His own court skill set can be on par with anybody in history. The fact that he missed so much games, so okay, your immediate team not seeing the benefits of that. And because he does not do anything to promote, now it's like, okay, I guess maybe we could get money from you. Well, he's not promoting anything, so you're not making money off of him. So he's like a superstar who's like, you're not getting anything.
He doesn't seem to chase the money. What is the shoe deal with Brooks? I think was the shoe deal.
New Balance.
New Balance. Yeah, the only U.S. made sneaker, by the way, is New Balance.
Mr. Bennett, you the GM. You are the GM. Do you sign him to a max deal?
Not with his injury history. No, like I said, part of this is fantasy. I'm just saying the tool set is undeniable. And like I said, if he gets another team to the finals, he's already a top 75 player. He's already a first ballot Hall. Now that's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
What?
Not Dwight Howard.
What?
Not Carmelo Anthony.
Dang.
That's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Case closed. No debates. Already, despite his injury history and everything, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. So yes, he's certainly he is certainly in many rooms, and he could have been in a lot more rooms. Again, had he been able to stay healthy. Shout out to our guy JT. I knew he'd show up tonight. Yes, Detroit basketball is back. Sort of reminiscent of back in the day when you had the Pacers with Reggie Miller and Detroit and Milwaukee with Terry Cummings and those guys. Seems like the Midwest for the NBA is being built back up after many years being down. But shout out to you for coming up. And Coach Rick has 0 cartilage in either knee, 39 points, impressive. Everything since Jordan playing 82 games at 41 years old. I mean, look, the guy is the guy's special. It's just unfortunate that again his body.
The points that coach is bringing up is the exact reason why you throwing straight Melo.
Yes, he did. Melo deserved that straight. Yes, he did. Him nor Howard, they are not first. I'm not saying they're not Hall of Famers. They are not first ballot Hall of Famers. I'm sorry. I'm not giving them that. But certainly, Kawhi is clearly heads and shoulders above those guys. So now I'm not putting those guys on first ballot. No dice.
How many points does Kawhi have total? Anybody know? About 15,000, 20,000?
Let me see. I got to look at that.
That is an interesting question. He has the championships, but also, so if we say Kawhi's first ballot, we would have to say, he's playing for Boston now, the guard. He would have to be one, too.
What, Drew Holiday?
Yeah, he would have to be one, too.
He's not first ballot.
I wouldn't put him first ballot.
Okay.
I wouldn't put him first ballot. But again, and also Kawhi he was MVP with San Antonio. Was he MVP of that Toronto series?
Yes.
Yeah.
So 2-time MVP for 2 different teams? No, it's case closed, bro. It's case closed.
Sean, how many points he have?
He has 14,733. It's probably so he's under 15,000.
See, that's one of the things. See, you guys are so selective when you want to bring out the stats. But then when
15,000 points.
that's not gonna wow anybody, right? That's not just like Terrell Davis for Denver Broncos. Again, I don't think did he get to even 10,000. I don't even know if he got to 10,000 yards, but again, the guy ran 2,000. I mean, when he was at his prime, he was the best running back in the league. So I gotta give it to him. It's like when you see Gale Sayers only played 6 years. So I mean, look, you got it when you see greatness. You got to recognize it when you see it. But let's move on. We got about 25, 30 minutes left in the show. Let's move over to the NFL and let's talk about, obviously, tomorrow is the NFL draft. And again, I want to give it to our guys again who are local to the Dallas area. So again, Jerry Jones trying to get back into the news cycle. Nico was taking some of the news away, so Jerry has to insert himself again into the news cycle. Said he is working on 2 pretty substantial trades ahead of the draft. So could this mean that Dak gets traded? Could it mean that Mika, who still doesn't have a contract yet, I don't know what's going on. I mean, this was a shoo-in. I mean, I thought he was a shoo-in to get $45 million a year, multi-year deal, but no action out of Dallas. So what possibly could Jerry be cooking up? So what are you guys hearing in the Metroplex about what the Cowboys could potentially be doing tomorrow, and who do you think they may draft? I don't know if you guys go through like mock drafts and whatnot, but what's the action looking like in Dallas at this point? Regarding Jerry and the fate of the Cowboys. So, again, Dante, you want to take that on, then we'll go to Shawnee, and then we'll close out with the coach.
So, what I was hearing about it, like legitimate trades, they've at least called or checked in on something like a cornerback, because cornerback is a big need, receivers a need, running back is a need. And the goal was if you get a player, like a veteran player in any of those positions, then that can help you in the, use your draft capital, and then you go to one of your other needs. But, names that have been floated out there but probably won't happen. Jair Alexander, Jalen Ramsey, he is available. And the Cowboys, the thing is, what makes it somewhat plausible Cowboys do have a lot of cap space. So it's something that could happen. One that I can see is realistic. Ricard White, the running back from Tampa Bay, he's on the list of someone that they could go after. I can't remember the other moves. I know they keep floating it out there, and it's more of a fan theory. The George Pickens, or there have been multiple trades they've been rumored about. What if it's a player in the trade, and then you swap picks? And then that kind of, get some of the, and then get some, a little bit more compensation. But like somebody like George Pickens, I don't see that happening. I don't see the Breece Hall trade. I don't see that happening just because these are guys that are near the end of their rookie deal, so they're going to get paid. Cowboys clearly. Michael Parsons not on the trade block, but he's somebody that they're anticipating paying. And then the thing, Dak Prescott, he's not, just because if they were to, they can't trade him. He'd have to agree to be traded, and it would cripple the team financially. So it's one of those deals where so those things aren't going to happen. But I could see possibly a trade back. But Jerry, I think he may have had some stuff in the hire, but I wouldn't see it being too many big players. The one I would enjoy is Jameson Williams out of Detroit. I heard he could be half for a third-round pick. I wouldn't be mad at that. I wouldn't be mad at a third-round pick for him.
Those are going to drive Brian Windhorst.
I
see that you'd be
windy.
Windhorst be doing that. Like, come on, when did be doing horse stuff?
Shawnee, what are you hearing, man? What are your sources? Since we're bringing what are your sources telling you? What's going on there?
Man, right now my source telling me Jerry ain't cooking nothing but a hot pocket. I ain't worried about what this dude talking about, this trade and stuff, and because just think about how the Cowboys operate. The draft is literally the only way they want to build their team. So it's just too valuable to them. You don't participate in the free agency. So you're going to trade your highly valued draft picks because you want to build your team on the cheap because you give your cornerstone players so much money. So you want to trade them picks for another player, and that player going to be, wanting money. So it's just, that's just more talk. Maybe what we were talking about earlier, Nico getting too much attention, so Jerry trying to put something out there for people to talk about Cowboys. The Cowboys are going to stick to their picks because that's the only avenue of team building they have right now. You've shown that the past several seasons, so keep this. You got way too many holes to be trading these picks for one single player or whatnot. Just go ahead and draft these players. I personally would like them to go for. I'm always trying to you build your trenches. You got some holes in the offensive line. You gave Dak all this money. Take the same route that you did with Romo. Once you signed Romo to all that money, you really put a focus on establishing your offensive line. Now I know they got some dudes because Dante, who's the line? The Fort Worth guy they drafted.
Tyler Smith.
Yeah, Tyler Smith and the other one.
Tyler Guyton.
Tyler got
That's the left
they
tackle
drafted
they
him.
drafted last year.
I think he may be just a new left tackle, but I think they need to still because you still lost Zach Martin because he retired. So get the line, but I'm thinking I've been hearing Matthew Golden if they keep that draft pick number 12. I'm looking at Matthew Golden from Texas.
Gotcha. Here, $2 super chat from CJ. Cowboys need a tight end since Dak is a check down artist.
That tight end from Penn State, I would not mind if they don't pick an offensive lineman. I would not pick it because he's literally a Swiss Army knife. He can receive and he can block and all that. I got to look up his name, but he's a Swiss Army knife tight end. I would not mind them drafting.
All right, so I'm just gonna obviously we're not gonna have time to go over all 32. Coach, do you have a skin in the game? Any team that you're following in terms of draft prospects that you want to raise before I move on to the Steelers?
I'm concerned about this Sanders boy.
Oh well, speak of the Angel.
They got him.
Speak of the Angel. So this is what. So again, all the mocks up to about a week and a half ago had the Steelers picking defensive tackle. There's four guys. There's a guy from Oregon. There's a guy from Michigan. Possible first round or even dropping back to try to get a second round pick. pick and maybe get like a Jalen Milroe or one of these other QBs in the second or third round. But certainly as of late, a lot of these mocks that have come out as of late have Shador going down to Pittsburgh at either 21 or possibly even Pittsburgh trying to move up in order to get him. His draft stock still seems to be sliding. Again, going into this, he was, considered to be the second or third in the draft. Now, again, concurrent with this, you also had, I don't know if you guys heard the Pat McAfee show last week where Aaron Rodgers makes an appearance and he talks about basically his, for lack of a better word, his exit interview.
I got something to say about that, but I'm going to let Coach and Dante. I want to ask you a question on that.
Yeah, his exit interview with the Jets, which didn't go well. And so it seemed like he's in a different place right now, whether or not he wants to play. But it seems like what people took from the interview, if he's going to play for anyone, it would be the Steelers. And if the Steelers are able to somehow pull a Sanders, let him sit for a year, or even a Milroe, and let those guys sit for a year, and you go with Rodgers, at QB. I know the Steelers had a press conference a couple of days ago, and they said they definitely want to go into camp with 4 QBs. There's also some talk about even my guy from Atlanta, the guy who makes all the money, possibly him being traded to the Steelers at some point. But certainly that's sort of the buzz around the room is that they may actually go, if there's an opportunity to grab Sanders in the first round, Steelers may go for it. Tomlin loves him. And so this might be the course of action. So just want to get your thoughts on Sanders. What do you think he may wind up? I know certainly BMU, all the talk was him. It makes sense that he goes to the Saints. I mean, Saints are going to need a QB. That Carr is having season-ending soldier surgery. I can barely say that, but that seems to be the current buzz right now. But the Steelers, they may go aggressive and try to give him. So, what do you guys think of where he may land? And again, any thoughts on the Aaron Rodgers, Pat McAfee interview? And what do you think, this may all wind up at the end of the day?
Aaron Rodgers is old. I wouldn't even waste my time and energy picking him up. I would save the resources for other young players. If the Saints let him drop, since he was a good pick for them, however, he's not even in the first round board today. So I would hope that the Saints don't let him go. Don't pass up on him. And if he drops into the Steelers' hands, I think that's probably the best move for him career-wise, because we've seen how Mike Tomlin, for some reason, players play for him. They show up for him with the rags and tags they have. They ain't like the Dallas team. Them dudes be over struggling. But for Tomlin, they show up, and you don't have no issue about players being ready. So I think it'd be a good choice to him. The best scenario I see him as a quarterback would go to Pittsburgh, because they have the offensive coordinators. They're focused on the quarterback, but the Saints would be a fool to let him drop past 12. And I can see the Pittsburgh Steelers moving up to get him, but they're going to have to give up too much. But yeah, so I think it's just a bad rap that he's gotten. He's clearly one of the top. He's clearly number 2 quarterback in the whole draft, but they got the University of Louisville quarterback ahead of him. Makes no damn sense. Yeah. I can see what this is. This is just
Jackson Dart also moved up quite a bit.
On,
He
makes no sense, man. So
yeah,
I don't know, man.
Go ahead, Dante.
Somebody's passing up on a good quarterback, and I know that you can look at it from a value standpoint, is saying, hey, this player, there's a quarterback tax anyway, because Jalen Milroe, in my opinion, is a second-round player I would take with his physical traits to develop him. But in this draft, which isn't that strong, you take Jalen Milroe in the first round. I've heard everybody predicted from the Steelers taking him, and in that scenario, the Steelers taking him in the first round. If Shador goes to the Saints at 9, which I think they should do, I saw a mock where it was like the earlier mocks where the Raiders, even though they signed a quarterback with Geno Smith, if them taking him and sitting Shador for a little bit for probably a season. In my opinion, if you want to win, you get the young quarterback, especially since while they're cheap,
Oh man,
you sign them to the 5th-year option and you make moves in free agency and make trades if you feel like they're going to be good and you're going to move forward. I honestly think the Giants are making a mistake. If I know they got the veteran quarterbacks, but what that situation is with the Giants, they don't want to get the quarterback for the next guy. They want to win right now, so they want to go and get a good pass rusher to add with what they have. To be honest, it's highest two. Top. I know Travis Hunter is great, but the Browns should seriously consider taking a quarterback just because that ragtag of guys that they got, that's not going to win you anything. And I think they can get out of Deshaun Watson's situation starting next year. So, and he's not going to play this year for you anyway. He may have played his last down. So I think teams are making a mistake at the quarterback. Other years they made drastic jumps and taking guys and swings and misses, like the Zach Wilsons of the world, or that whole draft, that one draft with Zach Wilson and Fields, that was just terrible.
this makes
So
no
it's like I
sense.
guess they don't want to make that mistake, but I think they're making a mistake passing on Shedeur Sanders. And I'm with you, that kid from Louisville. I know he's gotten a lot of buzz, but I'm like, that's a second, third round player, guys. I don't see it.
Mm-hmm. What do you guys think of Jackson Dart from Ole Miss, though?
I don't like.
Well, I was going to sound like Coach had something to go back. I was trying to see what he had.
Listen, man. Listen. Why is it okay? Shedeur Sanders. Y'all can clearly see that he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now in college football. He's been one of the best quarterbacks over the last 3 or 4 years, right? But we talking about sitting him out. But when they drafting all these other little scrubs, they get to start. It makes no sense to me. He's clearly one of the top. Now, they looking at his off the court antics. They're punishing him for that.
What off the court antics?
Yeah, he doesn't have. Hold on. He was at the combine.
But that's on the field. He does the watch thing on the field is the only antic he really does. What's the off the court?
But players have always done that. He just this is the mind shift of young players. But he still is one of the best performing players in the game, and he has a resume unlike Travinsky and all those other dudes that had one good year. He's proven that he can win games. And what he averaged, 300 yards a game? That's unheard of in college. You know what I'm saying? He's proven. It's just to talk about him sitting out. No, anywhere he go, he's the starter. If not, you're wasting the talent.
Well, Coach Ferg, only thing I'll say on that is we all said, I don't know if he goes to Oakland, not Oakland, he goes to Vegas, Geno Smith is a better quarterback than him right now. He is. Okay. Now, if he goes to the Saints, he's automatically the starter. But
is Geno Smith better than Derek Carr? Is Geno Smith better than Derek Carr?
Yes.
I would probably say so, yeah.
Not better than a lot of guys.
He's middle of the pack. Yeah. Bottom middle. 15 to 20 QB in the league, I would say.
Okay. My whole thing,
Go ahead,
I still think the Giants are going to get Sanders. So I just think they've shown, they have a high interest in them. And right now, everybody got that draft, mock draft fatigue for the most part. So, there's a lot of overthinking and whatnot. But I still think the Giants are going to, because he's one of the top 2 quarterbacks on, prospects out there. And they need a quarterback. So the only one who they will pick above Sanders is Cam Ward. But we pretty much, even though the Titans trying to say they don't know who they gonna pick for number 1, we know who you're gonna pick for number 1. You're gonna pick Ward. So, but my whole thing, Mr. Bennett, is more aimed towards you. Mm-hmm. So it came when you brought up the Aaron Rodgers thing with Pat McAfee. Aaron Rodgers is basically doing what Aaron Rodgers do. He's basically sitting out and not really giving no team a timeline or where his current mindset is at right now. They don't know if he's going to retire. You don't know what you're going to do.
Correct.
The Steelers are sitting there literally waiting on. Now, you kind of answered my question when you confirmed that they don't have no problem bringing in 4 quarterbacks on their roster in the camp. But I'm like, okay, y'all going to sit there and wait for Aaron Rodgers to make up his mind some way. Now, unless they probably gave him a deadline, hey, tell us by today, Wednesday, before the draft, which I don't think he did, or do you plan on playing in the 2025 season Really got to be longer than that. Or are you coming to us? So we won't sit here and wait and wait and wait. And if they got other holes they need to fill on their spot as well. So
That's
when
true.
the draft comes and it's time for them to pick, if somehow Sanders is still available, well, they're gonna worry so much about, oh, we got to wait on Rodgers, and just pass up Sanders because they thinking Rodgers, from the conversations they had with him, is going to choose them in the free agency. But now you put yourself at risk because you waiting for this dude who is known to take it. He may sit there and sit out the whole training camp and then make his mind up at the end of training camp. Okay, I come to you. You done wasted a whole lot of time. So that's what my question is like. Do you think the Steelers are going to do that? Because if Sanders, which I don't really think he's going to make it down that far, should they just grab, no matter what Rodgers says, pick Sanders up?
It would certainly. I think if he's there, I'd be surprised if they didn't take him. If he somehow drops the 2-1, or if they move up a few slots to pick him if he's there, I think they'll definitely pick him up. So I think the move.
I was like, they ain't gonna have 4 quarterbacks in the roster.
Well, the move is going to be so they got 2 on the roster now. They would have to draft 1. So again, you're either pick Sanders. I doubt they would move up and take Milroe in the first round. But I think certainly, again, if he's there in the second or the third, he would definitely. I think they would definitely take him. And now again, I like Milroe. I think that again, you can't teach the athleticism that he has. He has a howitzer of an arm. Again, a lot of guys are comparing him to Anthony Richardson. But I think that again, if you give him the right system and whatnot, I think he can develop. So I would rather take a 3rd round pick on him versus a 1st round on Shador. Again, if he gave me the option, because again, you have these other needs that you need to fill. But again, I think they would definitely sign a veteran. Now it could either be Kirk Cousins, or they may even bring in Ryan Tannehill. So again, you're going to draft a rookie. You have 2 QBs instead. You draft a rookie QB and you sign a veteran, either Kirk Cousins or Tannehill, or if Rodgers does decide. And again, that's the thing is we don't know the conversations. From what I understand from the interview, he was very complimentary of the Steelers. I don't know what back channel that Tomlin has with him, because apparently this is a Tomlin thing that they've been kind of going back and forth on chatting. So again, it could already be in the bag. He said in the interview, say, "Look, I'll play for $10 million." If that's the deal that they're offering him, even though coach said he's kind of past his prime, I would still, if he says he's ready to play, and he's only taking $10 million, because the talk was he wanted $20-30 million to play, even though he only has a year. If he's saying, look, I'll play for 10, then I think you take that card. And I think you just roll the dice with it, because again, everything is really geared towards the future anyway. So again, under those conditions, but I would not give him $30-40 million to play under no circumstances. And so if that's the deal that they have, so you have one of those vets, draft a rookie. I would choose Milroe if he's available. Because again, I'm like Shawnee. I don't believe that Sanders is going to be there at 21, or I don't think he'd even be there at 15. So I think that's what. But I like Milroe. The upside of Milroe over Howard, over the guy from over Jackson Dart, over the who's the guy at Louisville. I like.
I know you're talking about. I can't.
He's an old guy. The guy's like 26 years old. I mean, he's one of them. He's one of those COVID QBs. So I would rather go that route if I were the Steelers. Get your D tackle that you're gonna need, because you got an aging D line. Cameron Hayward. He's gonna be 36 this year. So get your next D tackle.
Get a running
back. That's what I'm saying. So if they ideally, I would rather trade back at 21. I would trade back to in the late 20s with 30, get a 2nd round pick. So your 1st round pick's a D tackle. Your 2nd round pick, either a running back or QB. Like I said, if Milroe's there in the 2nd round, I grab him. 2nd or 3rd round, get my running back. And then, but 1st round, I'm getting my D tackle. Either the kid from Oregon or the guy from Michigan, whoever's there. There's 4 like legit number 1 D tackles in this draft, and most likely to talk about the guy from Oregon being their pick. So that's kind of what I would do. I would take a step back to enter that extra second round pick, and then go from there. You know what I mean? So that's what I would do. But again, if Shador is there, that's a monkey wrench that may just upend that whole plan, because I just can't see them walking away from that if he's there. But that's, to me, that's a 10%. If I was that's a 10% chance that happens. But again, with all the talk, with all the buzz, all these GMs going around talking all this stuff about him, about his his hubris and all these things, I just don't understand where it's coming from. But from what I understand, he had a very good meeting with the Steelers. He loves the Steelers. He talked about Tomlin being like his dad, and Tomlin loves him. So again, if that's possible, I can't see them walking away from that. I just can't. So.
And the thing about Milroe is this: he is invited to the draft. So there's intel somewhere that he's going first round, even if a team trades back into the first round at the end, kind of like how they did Lamar Jackson. So I think it's real interesting. I know that Shador's, not going, but I still see him with all the smoke screen and the bad press. The bad press literally the day before the draft. I appreciate what Cal Brandt said, that is bull. That's bullshit. Like, they're coming out and being anonymous and saying that. Like, you could have kept that and dropped that after the draft, maybe. But to do it the day before the first round, that's I don't like stuff like that. But I hope,
who knows? It could be coming from the Steelers for all we know. Because if the idea is you need to bring him down, so who benefits from bringing him down? It's those teams that are in the later part of the draft, so you never know where this is coming from.
No, man, I can't say that, man. Ain't nobody, no organization up there talking about.
I'm just saying, what reason would you have to want to bring a player down except to drop his dapps? They're talking about him. He could possibly be a second rounder.
Yeah, but that's just part of it. This is part of it, man. That's what media do, man. That's what they do.
Again, but these are coming from, these are scouts. These are guys who are at the combine. These are folks who are there.
The true football heads, they know they can't pass on him, whatever number he drop in for them. If he's there, the Giants, and I don't like the Giants because you already got two established quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
I would go, Pittsburgh. The Saints would be the best immediate fit if he's available. They'll be a fool to pass up on him. They don't have a quarterback.
Yeah,
they're number 9. Yeah,
he's better than Derek Carr right now.
Saints, I think they will grab him. I don't think he's gonna make it to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, because he's better than Derek Carr right now. What are we talking about?
Yeah.
So they'd be a fool, but Pittsburgh, they can trade up to get him.
That'd be ideal. But again, they don't have enough in draft. Now, they got a ton of picks they got like 11 picks next year. So the plan initially was that they were going to bundle all these picks together, all these compensatory picks, and then move up to get their QB next year. But again, I don't know if they can do anything with those comp picks in tomorrow's draft. I think next year was the year they can sort of cash in, but not this year. So again, I don't know if they have the stock in place in order to do that. But again, it'll be interesting. I know Finesse Visions asked about a watch party. We need to plan something like that, gentlemen. Certainly, I would love to have a live where we're checking out some of this action. I don't know if it would be with the NBA Finals or certainly events, but if you guys are up for doing some lives, certainly I can certainly make some time for that if we want to schedule something like that. But I think that'd be pretty fun. But then
draft or something, that'd be nice.
Yeah. NFL draft in just future.
Draft, though, it's like after the lottery pick, it's like. Okay,
but that's the thing. Yeah, NBA draft has lost its luster. Back in the day, when you had Patrick Ewing, those guys come out in the 80s. Yeah, NBA draft. I don't even know the names of the guys coming out. I can barely pronounce the names of the guys coming out.
You got to know AAU basketball to know
exactly
to follow it. And because I know with my brother telling me, he'll rattle off the names to me, the guys in college and guys getting ready to get drafted, and it's just like, I only know a few top guys. And he'll be able to tell them. So you got to be in that world because basically their junior, senior year, and then their last year in college.
And even AAU, you got to know the international game because again, last year's draft, the top 6 players were foreign players.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's kind of lost it's rating share. I can't see the draft. I'd be curious what the numbers are, but I would think that the ratings for the NBA draft have plummeted over the last couple of years, just because, I mean, outside of the guy out of San Antonio, I can't see anybody who's like looking forward to, okay, where's this guy gonna go?
I put it like this: the NBA draft is what, 2 days after the finals. It's just that the finals happen, NBA draft, then the NBA is gone.
It might be like the next week, and it's like
it's immediately after the finals.
Yeah,
you watch the NBA draft.
Same with the WNBA, right?
You watch the NBA for the trades.
Yeah, the WNBA is right before the season.
It was just a few weeks. It was like what, 2 weeks ago, maybe.
Yeah, it was like right after the finals, right after the Final Four. I mean, it was.
Yeah. College, yeah. Because that was highlighted last year when Caitlin Clark, because she just took her team to the final game. 2 weeks later, she was drafted. Then also she got to go to Indiana.
Yeah, same with the woman from UConn.
NFL, what, their season ends early February. Draft is not like 2.5, almost 3 months later. And we talk about it the whole time. There's a build-up.
They stretch it out.
But then right when the Thursday hit tomorrow, that's why they started moving it to different cities, because they recognize, man, this is big.
Yeah. I would not want to be in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's like a small town anyway. They're going to have it in Pittsburgh next year. I'd be like, if I got some problem, I'm going to do an Airbnb and I'd be out of there. I would not. I wouldn't even want to stay in town, because, I mean, I don't see how they have the infrastructure to, like Green Bay. I mean, I don't see how they have the infrastructure to house that many people. You talk about 500,000 people.
I think they're going to have it at Lambeau Field, because I don't think they have. Because normally
they don't have facilities, hotels. Where are you going to have like 500,000? I mean, these cities drawing 500,000 people. I don't think there's not 500,000 people that live in Green Bay.
Green Bay just
there's a place called Appleton that's close by. If you're moving, you stay in Appleton and you go to Green Bay.
Okay, but how many hotels? I mean, how many hotel? I mean, there's nothing. Green Bay is like the metroplex of that region. So I can't imagine having the capacity for anything of that scale there. But
I'm pretty
we'll
sure
see.
NFL, when they determine a city they're gonna go to, they look at all of that.
But you got to build. It's like having the Olympic Games. You got to build the infrastructure, the airport. Can the airport handle that many people? Coming flying on the flights coming
to that Green Bay airport. They not used to all the people coming into the area like that.
Don't get any delays. I'm just saying. But gentlemen, I think we've come to the end of the show. Again, great chopping it up. Just looking at some of the NBA action. So the Celtics, they seem to take control of I think they won their game.
Unfortunately.
Right. Heat made it close, 100-91 with 7 minutes left. They're trying to make a game of it against the Cavaliers. So they're trying to hang in there and make it close. But, and the Warriors, they play the Rockets tonight. I think the Warriors, especially with playoff, we didn't talk about that, but I just think playoff Jimmy and Steph, as hot as he's been and whatnot, I just don't think, I think Houston's a little bit too young, doesn't have that experience, and I think the Warriors, I think that'll be, I could certainly see Warriors in 5 in that particular series. I mean, Houston's, again, promising team, but I think they're just not ready for this yet. And Steph, he seems to be playing with a mission that he ain't going out like that. This might be his last year. But he's like LeBron. He's trying to get to another finals at least. So definitely looking forward to that. But again, enjoy the draft tomorrow night. I'm sure gentlemen will be texting each other, going back and forth and whatnot, and seeing how the names drop. Definitely keep me informed. Anything happen in Dallas, and if Dak does get traded, that'll definitely be. We may have to do a live for that. I'm gonna say, bring everybody together.
I will certainly go live if he gets traded.
He gets traded. So, but just want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. Again, just make sure you hit the like button certainly before you leave tonight. Really helps the algorithm, and just thank BMU for this platform that we can have this chat. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying it. Everyone who supports us, again, we thank you once again. For myself, Mr. Bennett, for Brother Shawnee, for Dante, and the coach who is in the building. This is the One-on-One Sports Show on the Black Man Unfiltered Network. You guys take care. God bless, and we will see you next time. Good night.